sharing my screen. Yes, there will be video recording. Okay, cool. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, Steve, we can.
Yeah.
Yes, can see your screen.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for taking time to come for the meetup. It's like usually at night it's usually busy with family and stuff like that. But you guys have really made it. So thank you for everyone. So this is the August meetup. Just before we start, right now it's all online and Zoom. So just mute yourself when you're not talking. And for any questions that you have to the presenters, feel free to ask in Zoom in the Zoom chat, or if the presenters don't mind, just ask them directly in that sense. And we're always looking for speakers. So thanks to my company for sponsoring this just the Zoom subscription to organize the Hangout, and also for AWS. So usually in peacetime, like non-COVID time, we will normally be in the Amazon office, and they will have a nice place to have us, and also sponsor lots of pizzas. Unfortunately, it will be logistically impossible to ship pizzas to everyone here at this point in time. So we'll just wait for that to come back once the vaccine is found for COVID. Okay, cool. So community-wise, it's all about just the people around in the community. We're always on Meetup, so this is where you can find us. We're also quite active on Slack, so if you don't know about our Slack channel, just come in. There's a link over here, and you can also find it on the Meetup page itself. Okay, some announcements. First one, I think most of y'all might or might not have already known, this year's reInvent is going to be virtual and free. So I think it's going to be following most of the other tech companies that are doing this. If you have never gotten a chance to just go for reInvent, maybe this might be it. And actually, if you don't really want to go for it, all the videos will be online on YouTube and free afterwards. So I have no idea how they're going to hold this, at what scale. So it'll be interesting to see how a conference of about 40 to 50,000 is going to go online in that sense. Okay. Next thing is there was a hackathon over the last month or so. So the Singapore finals was last week, and the ASEAN finals was last night itself. So Philippines came in first place, and I think on the Singapore team came in on second place, and the Vietnamese team came in on third place. So if you're interested, this is something that's organized by AWS. You can participate next year. Just bear in mind, it's always happening every year. So if you're interested to know more, just check out the link, or if you want, just remember that such a thing does exist. Okay, so the agenda for tonight, we have 4 speakers. So Lee will be going first. He'll be talking about just a very fun project that he has to stream EventBridge data to DevOps board. Varun, he'll be talking about a new AWS service Copilot. Kai, he'll be talking about a tool that he has created, EBS Snapshot estimation tool. So this is going to be interesting to figure out why he created this tool to solve this particular problem. And lastly, Sashi will be going through the SAM, the AWS SAM, and I think just some demonstration around orchestrating Lambdas in that sense. We usually have a catch-up on Zoom after the whole thing ends. So if you don't have a family or don't have anything like that, just feel free to stay back. We'll be online to chat. Good. Okay. If nothing else, Lee, I think you can share your screen right now.
Okay, sure. Okay. Can everyone see? All right.
Yes,
So
can see.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so I would like to thank Steve for giving me this opportunity to present. This is actually my first ever presentation, public presentation in Singapore, live in Singapore. Then also, yeah, I would like to also thank my company, Horangi, because this is the first company where I actually touch cloud. All my previous job are all on-prem. Okay, so I'm actually quite new to cloud. Have been 1.5 years in the company, so hope I can share something that is useful for everyone. All right, so today I'm going to talk about streaming EventBridge data to DevOps bot. So what this does is it pulls the data where EventBridge can collect. This is something that was shared in the last meetup. I forgot his name. Yeah, so someone, I think someone from the organizing team, they shared about EventBridge last month, about how you can get all the different AWS data back through EventBridge, and then you can link it up to another Lambda. So this is what I'm doing. Before that, let me introduce myself. I'm Mohammed Lee. So my name officially spelled Mohd, but for those in the not from this region, this is actually Mohammed. Okay, so I'm a DevOps for Horangi. I'm a father of 3, and I've been 20 years in IT and electronics. And I enjoy solving problems. So all kind of problems you have, anything I always like to solve them. And plus, I was mentioned in Big Bang Theory by Sheldon. So this is a fun fact because in season 5, episode 5, Sheldon is trying to change name. So they're trying to avoid being caught, right? So each of them pick a name. So Sheldon picked Mohammed Lee, right? The reason being Mohammed is the most common first name, and Lee is the most common surname. So this is how the name was formed. But I only know about it after the fact. All right. So now what is a DevOps bot? Now this is the client side of it. Okay. So this is a side project that I did in the company to solve a pain point that we have. So we have Slack channel that is linked to code pipeline. Now, whenever there's a pipeline succeed or fail, there will be a message, right? But then everyone has to go and look at it, and you are busy coding or you are busy chatting with somebody else or doing a meeting or discussion, and then you have to keep going back to that channel and see whether or not whatever you have pushed or the PR is the merging of the PR actually produced in the successful pipeline. So then I thought that why not use a different sensory of us using our ears, right? So you can hear like when the pipeline succeed, when the pipeline fail. So when I start to look at this, I was thinking like, what are the options I have, right, to get this to work? Okay, so on the sound side, it's pretty easy. So this is basically just a Raspberry Pi, and then there's an amplifier board inside, and then just connect to a speaker and then hook them up. It's pretty straightforward. But on the server side, how do I get all this event? And the tricky part is that this is going to be in the office, and I don't think anyone from the network team will allow me to do to open a port to allow me to stream data into the office, right? It's not something that typically allowed, and it's not a safe option as well because you're opening up your device to the wall, right? And if someone hack this, means they can have access to the network within the office. Okay, so now, when I was researching about this, then I realized that there's actually an option for WebSocket on API Gateway. So basically, this is the server-side implementation of it. Now, the idea is that there will be a WebSocket connection from the client. The client will connect through, and you're doing an outgoing connection instead of incoming. Now, from within the API Gateway, it's like a hub. So you will receive messages from all the rest of the system that is here, and then you will pass the message down through the WebSocket back to the client. So then the client can decide, what to do. So okay, I will go into a bit more detail later. So basically, this is the idea of the whole thing. Now, on the left side, you can see that there's code pipeline, CloudTrail, your application. All of this, oh, there's a typo. All of this actually, and also SNS, all of this can be linked up to a webhook Lambda. Okay, so this Lambda will collect all the events, and this event will get passed through to the WebSocket. on the API gateway side. This would then be handled and passed down to WebSocket. Now, for at least for me, I'm quite new to this. So when I was looking at this, I was like thinking, how can I keep a continuously running Lambda that can receive connection, right? But the good thing about WebSocket provided by API Gateway is that they actually handle the connection for you. So you have a live connection, a permanent connection from your client to API Gateway, okay, that doesn't get disconnected. And you don't need a Lambda that is running all the time. Your Lambda only needs to be running when there is an incoming message or when you need to send something out. And when you need to send something out, is basically just doing a post to the endpoint on the API gateway. So it's pretty easy. And also most of the heavy lifting is already done by AWS. Now, okay. Oh, by the way, if anyone has a question, if you like to ask, you can also raise your hand. Okay, or you can unmute. Now, so then behind this API gateway, there's a WebSocket piece. So this Lambda actually handles the connection and disconnection. Now, the way that this connection, the way that this webhook Lambda knows that which client is connected. So imagine you have multiple clients connecting in, and how do you know which message to send to which client, right? So this WebSocket Lambda will, whenever there's a connection, a new connection come in, API Gateway will give a new client ID. And then based on that client ID, the WebSocket Lambda here will store them in DynamoDB. And then whenever the webhook event comes in, and if it needs to send something out, it will go through all the lists in the DynamoDB, and then it will fire each individual client individually. So all your clients will receive the same message, okay? Now there's another piece here, a forwarder. So this is something that works for us within the company because we have different environment in different accounts. So I don't want to set up multiple WebSocket, multiple webhook in all the accounts. So we have a simple forwarder. Basically, the forwarder is just whatever it receives, it will just forward it, and it will forward it to the webhook. So basically, the webhook is the collection point of all the events. So yeah, and you just need to give permission to a different account, and then I need to deploy one forwarder per account that I have, so that all the messages get collected from a single point. Okay. So now, so why I want to do this, right? Now, say, first thing is, like I explained just now, I don't want to do a reverse tunnel. So in order to get a webhook working, or in order to receive something from the web, we will need to expose a port, right? Short of that, I need to have some service running, and then I need to have a reverse tunnel in order to receive the event. So this is something that I think is like legacy technology. Well, webhook is something new, so I think that is more suited for the current setup. Plus, the next thing is we actually get a real-time event. Okay, so in the demo you will see later, it's like almost instantaneous. Then the next thing is actually local debugging. So by not exposing your port and being able to receive the message from cloud, from your AWS infrastructure, you can actually debug locally, and you can play around with the different type of message. You can pipe through different different events, and then you can play around and see to achieve what you want. Okay, so not just for code pipeline, maybe I want to listen to other events, like maybe our application. So like our application, we use SNS, right? So I don't have to go through all the documentation, or if there is documentation, but if there's no documentation, means I need to poke around in SNS, or I need to set up a Lambda, and then I need to watch what's printed into the logs, right? In order to see what are the messages being passed around. At least here, you can see the message while debugging them. So it makes it much easier for you to experiment. And also, there's so little friction that you can add any functionality on top. And it's fun, right? Why not? Yeah. Okay, so this is the code for the WebSocket. Okay, I'm just briefly touching through this. Okay, so the WebSocket basically just handle the connect. Oh, sorry. So it will handle connect, and it will handle disconnect. So during the connect, you just put an item in DynamoDB, and then during disconnect, you will just delete an item. This is all it does. This is the WebSocket Lambda. Then we have the webhook Lambda. So you will receive the event. Okay. Then within the event, you will look through, you will scan through the DynamoDB for all the clients. Okay. And then for each client, you will do a post. You just send a request to the API gateway. So then the API gateway will pass the data directly to the client. Okay, and then forwarder, this is the simplest. Basically, whatever you pass in, you just invoke the webhook Lambda at the end. Okay. Now on the client side, this one has a bit more work. So I'm only showing the WebSocket part. Okay, so this is the WebSocket connection. The reason why I put the functionality in the client is that I want all the messages to get streamed in. Then you can do the experimentation locally. Yeah, and then you can do the decision so that the client decide what you want to hear, what you want to receive. If you do that on the server side, means you need to have a lot more iteration if you need to change something. Or locally, you can easily test them, right? Okay, so this is just using asynchronous WebSocket connection. All right. The key is actually inside the process event, but I didn't put them into the slide. You can have my code. You can look at the code is in my public repo. Okay, so now come back to here again. So this is the, so you have seen the Lambda. So now this is just to wrap up the whole thing. So the blue line is the WebSocket connection. So from the client coming in to the API gateway, handled by the WebSocket Lambda. And then anything coming in from the event is black color, and then you will get sent out. Okay. Plus there's another web API gateway here for webhook. So this is a addition. So I have a webhook Lambda that receives everything from within AWS, but I also want to receive some external webhook. So now let's say I want to connect to Slack. Okay, so if I have this webhook on the cloud and using back the same channel to send the data back to the client, then this allow me to expose or to integrate with other services. Okay, and in a safe manner, because now the security is handled by API gateway. You can have your authentication set up over there. You know, you can have the token authorization and stuff. And by not and you don't have to expose your machine or whatever that you're working with directly to the internet. Okay, so this allows you to play with different integration. Okay, so time for demo. Any questions so far? Okay, if there's no question, okay, if there's no question, I'll start with the demo. So, okay, so this is the client-side code. Okay, so so everything is already deployed. This is the template that I use, CloudFormation template. So the lambdas, and then I have the DynamoDB. Okay, the SNS topic, and then this is the API gateway. Okay, so everything is already done here. I didn't put in the webhook piece here because that is more, yeah, it's not needed for this demo. And I have only deployed two lambdas, which is the webhook and the WebSocket. The forwarder is supposed to be done on the separate account, so I didn't include it here. Now the code is all here. Okay, so I'm going to just do a quick demo. So here, this is my API endpoint, my API gateway endpoint. All right, and then I'm using the WebSocket tools here. So this is for local debugging. So I'm connected to this. Now, let me show. Yeah, let me show this. Here. Okay, so in EventBridge, okay, so in EventBridge, I have a rules set up for this demo. And then what it does is it will listen to code pipeline. And then you invoke this function, the webhook lambda. Okay, and then for SNS, it's the same. So I have this topic, and then it's also the subscription is done on the webhook lambda as well. So everything is received by the webhook lambda. Okay, now I'm going to put this here. Okay, so here, this window is doing the WebSocket connection. Okay, so now I'm going to publish a topic. Okay, so yeah, target hit. So here. There, you see the message coming, and so this one, this is sorry, okay. So this is actually on the Raspberry Pi. Okay, so I have another Raspberry Pi here, which is this guy. Okay, so I'm doing a SSH connection. Let me just exit and try again. Okay, so I'm SSHing into this Raspberry Pi, and then I'm running the script. Okay, so I'm running the main Python. Okay, and then you start up. So if I were to fire this SNS event again, okay, see, within second it will come in. Okay, now within this code, I have some other logic that play the sound. Okay, so yeah, okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my speaker. Okay, and then I'm going to connect to. Oops, sorry. Okay. Oops. Okay. So you should be able to hear that sound. Now let me fire again. Let's say I have a new. So this is for SNS, new customer. Okay. If I get a new order, okay, or if we hit our target, right? So this is I don't know, not sure about you, but to me this is kind of fun in the office. Sometimes we get raised eyebrows from others. Yeah, the smile from the other colleague is worth all my time spending on this. Okay, so then I'm going to show you this piece now. So now that you have seen this, okay, so I'm going to test the code pipeline. So I'm going to do a release a change. So this will trigger the code pipeline, and you can see the message coming. Okay. Work. Okay. So here it comes. Then the message get played, and then this will take about 10 seconds. Okay. At the same time, I will show you the DynamoDB. So here you will see there's two client connection. Okay. Now if I were to disconnect this guy, and then you will see there's only one left. Okay. The changes is instantaneous. So I connect again, and then I'll have two clients. Okay. So this is the unique ID that was given by API Gateway. Okay. So based on this ID, when you post data into this, yeah. So the pipeline is done. So yeah. Based on this ID, when you post the data will get received by whichever WebSocket connection is connected at the time. Okay. And then lastly, we will do a fail example. Work. This green unit is actually the actual unit we have in the office. Okay. Yeah, this is the inside of it. And I set up the blue one for demo. I didn't want to touch this because it's already working. Okay. Yeah. So that's the fail pipeline. All right. Okay. So let me come back here. So what else can you do with this, right? So there's actually a lot of things. Okay. This is the client code. Okay. So in the client code, right? Sorry. Let me do another. Yeah, there's another piece of demo I want to do. So this is the client code, and I have a differentiation for is Raspberry Pi or not. Now, when it comes down here, right, when you process the event, so by knowing which piece you want to do, over here, so if it's not in Raspberry Pi, we can actually do a send notify send. So this will send a pop-up notification on your desktop. Yeah, so that gives you another option to receive this kind of event. I believe it's much more useful for DevOps as well. Like for example, if you want to know, maybe the server is down, or maybe the Lambda reach a timeout, or there's a error within the system, right? We can use Slack. Or we can also use this depending on how we segregate the messages. And then, okay, so I want to demo this. Just do a quick one.
Lee, we got to wrap up in about a minute's time.
Okay, right. So this almost done. One more slide left. So I'm going to put a breakpoint here. Okay. So this is to show you that the web create connection can you can do this. Okay. See, I can come here. I can have a breakpoint here, and then I can step through the code. Yeah. Then I can debug or I can experiment with it. Yeah. And this message come from the cloud. Okay. So it allows a quick iteration. All right. Cool. So that's it. There's a push notification, and you can also do a NOC dashboard, right? Because you're going to receive all the cloud events, and you can have a dashboard in the office. You can have a centralized webhook. So that means all your different events can come to a single webhook, and then you consolidate or you do a filtering before you pass it down to your other client. And well, the rest is up to your imagination. If you'd like to see the code, it's actually available here. So this is my username, faultylee, and then the project is DevOps support. Yeah. Any question?
I think there was a question from Iraqi on the Zoom chat.
Oh, okay. Could you achieve the same by integrating notification with Slack instead of using Pi? Yes, you can integrate with Slack. The thing is, the reason why I use the Pi is that the sound can come from the background, so you don't have to pay attention. For a Slack channel, you need to look at it, right? Or when a notification come up, you need to go and see which channel it is. What is it about? And this sound is indicative. Like for us, work the CI start. Work done. Okay, CI is done. I can go and test my page now. I don't even need to click anything. Immediately I can go into the page. Yeah. So that gives a, because you use a different sensory, it doesn't take your mind off whatever you are working on. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. Any other question? Okay. If you don't have question, if anything, you guys can continue to post in the chat. So yeah, thank you. And hope you enjoy this presentation.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Lee. I think you can get a job at Nintendo because they now have a Lego. It's not with Lego instead. They now have a Nintendo tie-up.
Okay.
Okay. Next up, we have Varun. He's actually presenting from KL. He's with Deloitte Consulting. Yeah. So, Varun, you take it away.
It was nice presentation, Lee. Right. So,
thank you.
if you can ping the links over to the chat, it would be easy to grab your GitHub and all those stuff, right, at your right and convenient time. So let me share my screen, Steve, just a moment. Is it visible, Steve?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Hi, all. This is Varun, and this is my first user community group in Singapore presentation, as well as from last few days I was very happy because I have selected and nominated as a AWS APN ambassador from Asia and Deloitte side. And yeah, this is my profile. So I have 8+ years of experience in AWS as well as in cloud and virtualization with different technology. So I have published a couple of research paper in IEEE as well as a couple of other research paper in different publication, as well as I'm writing a blog also in Medium. So you can follow me over there in the Medium, and I have my YouTube channel, so you can get in touch with me on a YouTube also. And moreover, I have almost a decade of training experience. So I train people, I train the corporate guys, I train the students. So yeah, this is sharing knowledge is one of my passion. So thanks, Steve, for giving me this opportunity to present myself and sharing my skill set about the DevOps over to the Singapore community, right? So yeah, this is a couple of certification I have in AWS, and I have done my master's in computer science in India. And yeah, most recently I have worked with one of the largest company called Astro, and we have a very good experience over there about the DevOps and AWS, and they are one of the most billable company for AWS. And I learned a lot over there about the DevOps, DevSecOps, continuous integration, and continuous deployment. So many things about that. So yeah, recently I have worked on these technologies and overall experience about the cloud, and AWS is one of my most favorite platform. So today's agenda of this topic is AWS Copilot CI/CD setup. Okay, so before starting it, let me give you on the chat couple of links over there. So if anybody wants to reach out to these links directly, they can reach it out over there. Just a moment. Okay, for this I need to stop sharing it and then go to the chat. To everyone. Yeah, so there are few links over there. You can just go ahead, you can find all the details about today's presentations from my side. And of course, Steve will be gonna upload it on a YouTube. Yeah, so I can come back again, and my screen is shared. So the agenda of this meeting and the presentation is Copilot. So Copilot is recently launched by the AWS on July 9th, last month. And it is a automated tool to build your container services. Like if people are, know about the serverless or container. So AWS provide the elastic container service. So we can easily create the entire infrastructure with the Copilot. We can easily build the pipeline with Copilot. We can easily, deploy our code and the new version and the rollback, each and everything about the DevOps, continuous integration, continuous deployment things. We can do it in a very, very easy manner with the command line tool. So today I'm not going to deep dive in this particular, but yeah, I do have a video over there then where I can show you how to install your Copilot in your Linux machine and how can you release your first development environment in your Linux terminal with your local machine. So the second topic, why Copilot, why not other native tools? Because there are a couple of other native tools like CloudFormation and ECS CLI. They are already existing over there. And yeah, the fourth and fifth point is all about the presentation. And in the last 3 to 4 minutes, if there is any question, I'm happy to answer you guys. Yeah, so what is Copilot over here? So it's a command line interface which provide a high level command to simplify the modeling, the creating and releasing and managing the production ready containerized application on Amazon ECS from your local development environment. So as I told, Copilot something, if you want to fly your plane in the container, other containerization tool, then you can utilize this Copilot and you will be the Copilot to host and to run this container machine on your environment. Okay, and yeah, this is the simplified architecture I have created over there. So typically the developer, let me put the annotation. Yeah, so typically the developer in the native tool, the typically developer will log into this AWS CLI computer and they can utilize the ECS CLI or the CloudFormation. Then that will create the ECS, and then that will create the Fargate cluster. And after that Fargate cluster, we do have the services and tasks. So this is particular AWS. We can create the CI/CD pipeline, and once we can push that CI/CD pipeline directly, it can go to the service level and it can create or replace the task based on your new version or the rollback in case of the older version. So this is how our overall high-level view of the Copilot. And why not the other native tool? I already explained a little bit and few things over here. It's all in one. The Copilot command can do everything from the starting point to the deployment point, right? It can create your infrastructure. The second point, whatever required infrastructure you required over there in AWS, with the Copilot init command, it can create for you. Then it's an easy management. Let's suppose you want to change the size of your container, the size of your task from 256 MB to 2 GB. You want to increase the CPU numbers over there, then you can utilize this manifest file inside your local folder. When you run this copilot.init command, it can create and you can play with that, and it's a very easy to manage. And then it will create your backend as well as front-end service. So backend, if I can say, you can create the DynamoDB, you can create the storage service also, the S3, you can link it over there with the Copilot, as well as for the front-end, ALB, that application load balancer, everybody knows about that. So it can automatically create an application and the service discovery and so many things, right? So if you want to add more services, that means, there is a command called a Copilot pipeline. So there is a prerequisite about the GitHub and token. So you can set it up all this. So whenever you put your code inside the GitHub, it will automatically create a pipeline, and it will automatically run that pipeline and push your code to your infrastructure, right? As well as another thing, we can launch a multiple environment and manage the multiple environment, like development environment, staging environment, prod or pre-prod, we can call it UAT environment. So these are the environments we can easily create and manage and maintain by the Copilot. And of course, the auto scaling part also manageable from this Copilot. And yeah, at the end, if something goes wrong, then there are so many logs command or so many other different commands through which you can troubleshoot this one, right? So this is why we are using Copilot, why not the other native tools, right? So these are the infrastructure part which Copilot gonna be created automatically. It will create a VPC for you. It will create the subnets, the security group, the Elastic Container Service cluster. Inside that cluster, we do have the Fargate, and then it will create a service discovery inside the Fargate. Then it will create a Elastic Container Registry service or the repository service. Then application load balancer, as well as if you have the HTTPS connection, then it will create the Amazon Cert Manager also, the ACM, that is Amazon Certificate Manager. So it will manage the certificate also for the HTTPS, right? So if you can go there. Okay. Yeah. So without making any delay, let me go to the another tab, and I'm gonna play a video in which I'm gonna explain each and everything. So this video is already there in the YouTube. But before going to the YouTube, this is the blog I have already written for this Copilot. So whatever I am explaining over here, you can reach out to my blog over there. And inside that blog, step by step, you can find each and everything, each and every step over there. What are the prerequisites we have? And then what are the command? You can just copy and paste this command to your terminal, and you can go ahead. And also there is a GitHub repository also. I have already provided the link to you in your chat window. And then installation of the basic software. And once it is installed, how we gonna run the Copilot, how we gonna clone the Copilot from our GitHub repository. And those videos are in part 1, part 2, part 3. It's already updated here. So this is the Copilot init command. Once we run over there, all the necessary screenshot is here. So yeah, these are the resources what you can create with the help of Copilot. And at the end, you can see how you're gonna create and play with the services, right? So those who are familiar with the containerization system or orchestration tool with Kubernetes, they can easily understand that. And here is the history of all the commands. So if anybody wants to go over there, they can just copy and paste it and deploy it. And at the end, I have provided the success of my Copilot project and a couple of other videos linked over there, part 1 and part 2, as well as the part 3. And at the bottom of this page, you can find it out, my other details. You can join me on LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook, or YouTube, or GitHub. Okay, so these are my channels over there. You can reach out to me. And here I'm gonna play this video. on a 2x speed because I have a limited amount of time given by the Steve. So yeah, I'm gonna start from here. And meanwhile, you can chat it if you have any question. Please ping me in chat if you have any questions. So this is how I'm installing the Copilot with this particular command. You just copy and paste it to your terminal, and it will install. And for Amazon Linux, because I'm Amazonian mind, I have Amazonian mind, so all the things I'll prefer to do on Amazon Linux. So there is an issue, so that issue can be resolved with this particular thing, right? So I'm not able to run this Copilot right now. So you need to copy and paste one command, which is this. I'm just making a soft link over here. Now my soft link is installed. And if I can press the Copilot help, I can see the Copilot is installed over here. So here, all those detail of the Copilot things, you can go one by one and you can, read it out over there and you can find the details. So now I'm installing the Docker. At the bottom of my screen, you can see I'm installing the Docker and the Git. It is blurring. Just give me a moment because there's a blur connection. So let me put it on 1.5. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm starting the Docker service. Now the service of Docker is started. I'm writing the command chk config docker on. So whenever your machine will be rebooted or after in morning, if you turn on your machine, so automatically you can, the Docker services or the daemon must be started. So now I can check the status over here and it's running. I cleared my screen. Now I'm copying, a Git clone in the OPT directory. So I just went to the OPT directory and cloning my Git URL. Now it is cloned because one of the things they have suggested from the AWS, whenever you are doing working with the Copilot, kindly do this on a Git repository. So that will be easy for your pipelining and code deployment and all this CI/CD pipeline stuffs, right? So yeah, I do have a README file over there. Then I'm copying a simple HTML file as well as the Docker file from my notepad. So I will create a Docker file over here. And this is a simple explanation over there. So from, it's a sent to us the base image. And then I have maintainer as my name. Then I am installing the Apache over there, right? Inside my Docker, inside my container. And then I'm copying my index.html, which in few seconds, I'm gonna create it over here. So index.html should be copied from my local machine to my container machine. And at the end, I am giving a command which will run the HTTPD whenever my Docker instance will be turned on, as well as exposing the port number 80 for Apache. Now I'm creating an index.html file, and I'll copy and paste my code from my notepad. So I'm initializing the Copilot, and it will say that no, you cannot initialize your Copilot here because you didn't configure your AWS configure command. So you have to configure the AWS configure command and then copy and paste your IAM credential. So this is how I'm showing it, how we can create the IAM secret access key and ID, right? So yeah, this is quite blurred. Intentionally, I am doing this. Yeah. So key is here. Similarly, you can find the secret access ID also, and the reason in which you are doing it. So for me, it's a North Virginia, US East 1 reason. I'm putting the reason name. Now, all the terminal things is ready to configure everything. So now I'm initializing it, and then it will ask for what is the name of your application. And see in the yellow color on the top, you can see this should be a root of the Git repository. So this must be a Git repository. And my application name is Demo Copilot. Now it is asking a load balancer or a backend service, whether you want a front end or the backend service. So in that case, I will hit enter and select the load balancer and then provide the name of my load balancer. So it should be WebALB right now. And the Docker and HTML file is already here. So this will take a couple of minutes to create the infrastructure. Okay, so application name is demo pilot, then the Docker file is there inside the Docker repository, and there is the message like we will set up a load balancer web service named with WebALB and all those things with the port 80, right? So now it is creating the infrastructure on the AWS console. So it is asking whether you want a test environment. I said, yes, I want it on a test environment. So then this will take almost 5 to 10 minutes to create all the infrastructure. It will create your VPC, it will create your subnets, it will create your routing tables and security groups. So now I can show you on the terminal. Wait, let me play. So I can see. So I have filtered it out my VPC over there, and then I can see there is a couple of subnets available. 4 subnets are there. Then the route table is also created. And still in the back end, it is creating for you, creating the infrastructure for you. Now I can go and check the load balancer. So newly created load balancer is here. So this is how after a few minutes, so I cut the video over there. So after a few minutes, 5 to 10 minutes later, you can see a deploy web ALB like this. There is the URL for this, right? So let me this screen. Yeah. So this particular URL, you can see at the down below in a moment. So this is the URL for your newly created ALB. And now you can run your URL towards your browser. Any of your browser, you can open your browser and just paste it there. So your URL will create a newly created website or the container inside your Elastic Container Service. So this is how we can run the ECS Copilot or the AWS Copilot over there, right? So typically, if you are having any issue to see this video or to understand anything, you can go again and visit my blog, visit the YouTube things, and here I'm showing you all the stuffs what the Copilot has done it, right? So I'm explaining one by one in this video, but I think we are running some short of time. So Steve, can you please let me know, is there any questions?
Yep. So I think there's a question on Zoom chat asking if all this is actually backed by CloudFormation.
Of course, yeah, this is backed by the cloud formation. So whenever you are running the AWS EC2, AWS Copilot command, the initialization command, so in the back end, there is a cloud formation stuff which can run over there, right? So, yeah.
Varun,
Yeah.
Sashi, so you know the difference between the SAM and this Copilot?
SAM is something for the Lambda specifically and for the cloud formation specifically. And this ECS Copilot is typically we can utilize for container services.
Okay,
Right?
basically the serverless one and the
Serverless one, yeah, yeah. But you cannot utilize the SAM over there inside this Copilot thing.
but
Does it
actually
fit into, sorry, one question from my side. Does it fit into anywhere in the Kubernetes also to launch any clusters from this Copilot app?
Okay, so typically, this is my perception. Again, this is my perception over here. To challenge the Kubernetes, because in orchestration world, Kubernetes is so easy to orchestrate, right? So in my perception, AWS bring this Copilot to compete the Kubernetes. So you cannot do anything with the Kubernetes. It is specifically for the ECS cluster, Elastic Container Services, not for the Elastic Kubernetes services. Yeah, this is again my assumption.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, I have already copied and pasted the links. If you want, you can go to the blog, you can go to the YouTube, and you can find more details. And let me unshare my screen and just go through the questions if there is any. Yeah, I think all done. So thanks again, guys. Thank you for joining me here, and thanks, Steve, to providing me this platform to share my knowledge with them.
I think we have time for questions. Maybe about
Yeah, so if anybody else want to ask any question, please shoot your question. I'm ready to answer it.
Okay, so first question. You revoke your keys, right?
That was a video, so of course, yeah. So I'm almost 3 to 4 videos bi-weekly. I'm giving over there. So whenever I complete one video, I revoke my keys always. Yeah.
Okay. So
But
anyway,
thanks for the reminding.
because you know, it could be very interesting usage over here. Okay, the second question is kind of like, have you used ECS CLI v1 before? And how does it compare with this code?
See, in ECS CLI, we can do the things for container related stuff, but you cannot do the pipelining, you cannot do the other things over there, right? So if you want to create a CI/CD pipeline in the code pipeline, so you cannot able to do with the ECS CLI, right? So these are the challenges. These are the challenges that can be overcome from this particular.
But
Copilot.
correct me if I'm wrong. So SAM CLI also does the CI/CD pipelines and ECS orchestration also it can do, right? So you know the difference between the SAM CLI because whatever the Copilot is doing, which they have released in the month of June, SAM
Month of July, yeah,
also does the same thing.
yeah, yeah. So see, Copilot is specifically about this containerization. In SAM, you can utilize a couple of other stuffs also, right?
Yes. So okay.
Yeah. So see, let me give an example. In SAM, you can create a pipeline for Lambda, right?
Yeah.
But in Copilot, you cannot create any Lambda things. It is specifically for the Elastic Container Services.
Okay, but in SAM, we can orchestrate ECS, right?
I am not pretty sure because I'm not too much familiar with SAM. Yeah, I have gone through that, but yeah, I need to know. So you can join me or send me an email over there. So moreover, I can provide you the answer separately.
Sure.
If I'm not mistaken, you are Sashi Kumar A, right?
Yeah, because
Okay.
In our office environment, right? So maybe like I am not the person who has done that, but like I have seen some use cases like ECS orchestration, which is done by SAM.
Mm-hmm. So might be. I'm not very familiar with the SAM architecture and SAM things. Yeah, so there might be a case.
Thanks, Varun.
Okay.
Okay.
If no other questions, going once, going twice. Okay, gone. Yep.
Well, thanks, Steve. Yep. Hope you guys enjoy this session. Enjoy my knowledge sharing session.
Yeah, Varun, your videos are pretty good. Like it will help us a lot.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
Okay, next up, we have Kai Hendry. Kai, are you around? Okay.
Yep, I am. Can you
Okay.
see what? Can you see that?
I can see your Zoom settings.
Okay. Hey, does anyone know this guy, Wang Lianzan?
No.
Okay. Okay, guys. So I just wanted to share with you my Elastic Block Storage backup calculator. This is important to estimate your, if you're doing backups with AWS, I recommend using EBS snapshots, and the tool I've created is just to help calculate how much your backups are going to cost. So this is kind of inspired by this. I noticed this unofficial Amazon Glacier calculator. It's written about 4 or 5 years ago by a Singaporean, or someone who lives in Singapore rather, in Angular, and kind of works, except that it needs to be updated for Singapore. But it was cool that it was done in Singapore at least. And okay, nowadays you have the Elastic Block Store calculator from Amazon, the calculator.aws, and you might just be saying to me, Kai, why don't you just use that one? But this one is a bit weird, and I put my reasons why. And it doesn't, like, sometimes when you're setting up a retention policy for your workloads, you might want it daily, and weekly and monthly. So this one is, I find, quite difficult to work with, and the calculation doesn't seem right. So in this new technology called JavaScript, I don't know if anyone's heard of it, I created this calculator here, where you plug in the size of the disk. The EBS cost is 0.05 at the time of writing. Of course, I could try query the 15 megabyte API response, or sorry, 70 megabyte API response from AWS, and perhaps fill it in dynamically, but I don't want to destroy the internet. So I haven't done that. So it's a fixed thing right now. And of course it gives you the price of that. So the way it works is that you say you have 100 gigabyte volume, then you pay for the initial EBS disk, and then you pay for the sort of extras, and it's all goes by the ratio of change. So you can have daily, weekly, yearly type things here, and you can play around with it, and it tells you how much your backups are going to be. And that's it. That's what I had to share with you guys. A little tool to help calculate your backup, how much your backups are going to cost, basically. And what else can I say? It has some. I linked to the Reddit thing where I explain why I think the estimate is a bit strange from Amazon. They haven't been able to answer my query, so I'm assuming I'm right and they are wrong, because they don't come back to me. Okay, that's it. Who loves EBS snapshots?
I haven't touched one in a while.
Okay. Well, it's the easiest way to back up regular workloads, in my opinion. Next speaker, I guess.
Okay. Any other questions for Kai?
Just one question I have. Maybe it's not related to direct EBS. Maybe it's more of AWS infrastructure itself. Let's say I have something to back up like my EBS, my AWS EC2 machine, but I would like to actually like take that snapshot and store into S3 instead of EBS snapshots. Is it possible?
Well, the cool thing is AWS does that already for you. Like when you make a snapshot, it's stored on S3.
Oh yeah, I mean it's actually like stored in S3 only. You meant like the EBS volume is actually stored in S3?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, cool, thank you.
Yeah, it's cool like that.
Yep.
That question is not like asking if you can actually see the image directly in S3, right?
Well, that's a good question. I've never had
I think as I know, for at least for ODS snapshots, they do say they're storing in S3, but we don't have access for those. But I haven't like learned about the EBS volumes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the same concept. It's the same concept.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. What else is there to say about EBS? It's encrypted. Well, obviously EBS is not a good solution if you want a very low, what do you call it, RPO. Like if you want zero data loss, doing a daily backup 10 times a day is not going to, or 12 times or 24 times a day is not going to work because you basically got 1 hour leeway there. So for databases, of course, you would use RDS to manage your database. But for other stuff, EBS snapshots is a very nice solution.
I think if the official pricing calculator is wrong, like maybe you should just tweet Jeff Barr or something, and then he'll tweet to.
Whoa, Steve! This is the first time anyone's agreed with me. Okay, I think they're wrong too. Thank you, Steve. Okay,
No, I mean, I've always come into, I mean, in the past where I actually had to calculate like my snapshots cost based on my rotation cycles and stuff like that. So whichever tool that works and gives me good estimations, I would say wins the game.
Oh, which tool have you been using? Have you just been doing it in Excel or something? Or you've been using my tool for the last 2 months?
I think back then it was more manual. I can't remember if there was EBS snapshots.
Well, I was looking around and I couldn't find it, so that's why it prompted me to create this.
But recently, I think maybe last year at work, we had to do some. No, I think that was more S3. It wasn't more EBS.
And
So
I just wanted to quickly point out that my Vue.js source is kind of readable, unlike Angular. You know, I don't transpile it or anything. So I'm a hero, guys. Bye.
Okay. Any other questions for Kai? Not. Going once. Going twice. Okay. Lastly, we have Sashi Kumar. He'll be sharing about SAM. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you're able to hear me, right?
Yep. Just need to speak a bit louder and you should be good.
Okay. So thanks, Steve, for this opportunity, and thanks, Steve, and your company for this opportunity. And this is my first public presentation. And coming to myself, I have got around like 10 years of experience in the IT technology, and from past 2 years, I'm working in cloud. And thanks to COVID and thanks to work from home, I've done around like 7 certifications from last 2.5 months on AWS. And maybe like I'll quickly show my LinkedIn page. Okay. So this is my custom domain which I've created a couple of days back, and so these are my seven certifications which I've done from last 2
Your screen is not visible.
and not visible, is it?
No, the
Okay,
one
just a
you
minute.
wanted to share, the LinkedIn one.
Yeah, just a moment. I'll share the entire desktop. Is it visible now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the custom page which I have built it myself on and hosted into Route 53 and bought this for 12 USD for 1 year. For 1 year, and I built this website, and this is my website. And these are the certifications which I've done from last 2.5 months or something. Okay, so back to presentation. Okay, so I've kept this like save time and people's effort and money by using SAM. So you will be saving time and people's effort and money of the organization by using. I want to convey like that. Okay. So in today's topic, we'll be discussing about the applications which are hosted by using SAM. Yes, we are in a very tight situations, right? Like COVID and all, right? So companies are companies are laying off, and licensing organizations are pushing to reduce the licensing cost of the servers and going serverless so that we can save some bucks with respect to servers and all those stuff, right? So that is the reason, like I thought, like I personally get interested in this serverless application model. So let me jump to the topic. So what is SAM? So SAM is nothing but the open source framework for building the serverless applications. So which is licensed under Apache, and SAM is more famous for the shorthand syntax to express the infrastructure as code service, infrastructure as code. And it is built on top of the cloud formation. Yes, SAM can orchestrate non-SAM components as well. What is non-SAM components in the sense like, so actually SAM is serverless, right? So serverless means Lambda, API gateway, step functions, and DynamoDB and Aurora database, which we'll think about. So, but as SAM is built on the cloud formation, it can orchestrate all other remaining services of non-SAM components as well. Going on to the next one, we can control the of serverless function as a service products with global variables. So in the sense, like if you have 100 lambdas in your particular application, so rather than having some sort of a variables in all the lambdas, and which will increase the effort of your maintenance of the lambdas, right? So rather than maintaining all the 100 lambdas, you can declare some sort of a global variables wherein you can control all the 100 lambdas of your application by using the global variables. And it supports Lambda, API gateway, step functions, and DynamoDB. And this is the most fun part. So we can run, debug, and build test locally without even deploying it to cloud. So you can build in your personal laptop, like your own. You can download the SAM CLI and install it, and you can run, debug, build, and test locally whatever the lambdas are API gateways or step functions and DynamoDB tables in your local. And once everything is good, then you can push it to prod into the AWS cloud. So there's a concept called as stage variables and Lambda aliases based on the environment variables, in the sense like whatever the code which you are building in the Lambda, right? So the stage variables based on the stage variables based on the parameter which you pass, based on the parameter which you pass, the respective type of code will be executed. In the sense like you have multiple releases. You have multiple release stages of APIs such as alpha, beta, and alpha, beta, dev, and prod, right? So what we can do is stage variables. We can specify which set of code has to be taken. Like consider only prod variable we are passing. Then in that case, it will take the respect to lambda and give the output to you. This is one of the options for using the stage variables. And like if you want to read from a different database for one lambda, for production database, like for example, for production database, you want to read it from www.example.com. So for development environment, you want to hit a different API endpoint. So you can configure these sort of stage variables by using the lambda aliases and the environment variables. The next one is the canary deployments, in the sense like you have some sort of a new version of Lambda which you're releasing to the production, but you're not sure like whether any sort of new issues will pop up or something like that. So then in that case, you can route the traffic based on the stage variables. Like 10% of the traffic should be going to this new version of the Lambda, and other 90% of the traffic should be going to the current version of the Lambda, so that the number of users getting impacted, right, will be very much less. Moving on to the next slide. So in today's one, the identifying the duplicate patterns within your application or within your organization is what I want to discuss on the duplicate patterns, so that these common patterns in which you have to declare the same components in multiple templates, right, which can be separated out, and it can be separated out, and reusability of the applications can be reusability of the applications which is more redundant in a particular organization, right, can be used in other applications as well, rather than deploying the same functionalities again and again. So what this diagram says is the Amazon DynamoDB is so there are three boxes over here, right? DLQ, redrive, and DLQ and alarms, right? So DLQ is nothing but the dead letter queues. So the SQS queue is pushing some messages to the Lambda. So wherein Lambda is continuously failing to successfully complete that operation within the Lambda. So it is so as it is failing, it is pushing to the dead letter queues. So dead letter queues is also some sort of a Lambda wherein some sort of an CloudWatch alarms will be triggered, and developers will the respective production support or some guys will be seeing that, and they will identify why this particular files or the starts are getting failed, and they will identify and they will push it to the dead letter queue redrive Lambda. So wherein if you see there are three boxes of same dead letter queues and alarms, and redriving is happening. So this approach can be eradicated. How and what is the solution? So by analyzing, monitoring, and redriving is important in a production system, but identifying the duplicate patterns within your application is very important, in the sense like what are the types of duplication. So dead letter queue redrive is one of the example which you have seen over here, right? And CI/CD pipelines also is getting redundant within the organization, and data processing, API authentication and authorization, payment processing, notifications, all these are getting duplicated within your application itself or within your organization. So this means the companies are spending a lot of money on the duplicated patterns rather than concentrating on their core business logic. So the solution for that one is nested applications and SAM and serverless application repository, which is nothing but these two are the features of the SAM. So what we have to do in order to reduce the billing costs and concentrate on core business logic is separate the common patterns within your application and nest them by using the by using like this, in the sense like this is the SAM template. So if you see the root stack the root stack is the main stack which we will be deploying, and this nested stack is nothing but where we can use where the reusability of the reusability of the stacks will be there in different application within the organization. So if we segregate the stacks which are commonly used, we can save a good amount of money. Moving on to the next point, serverless application repositories that allow you to store and share reusable application and build once and share multiple times within your organization. And the most important point is no more cloning, building and packaging and publishing it to AWS. Rather than that, before deploying itself, you can configure the serverless app. You can make an image and put it in SAR, and in your cloud formation, you'll be getting a option called as copy as a SAM resource. You can download that and use it. The reusability is very much easy. Okay, so that's all I want to cover for this one. I don't have any, because yesterday only I got confirmed on this invite. So I prepared it today itself. I don't have any hands-on one to show you. You have any questions? I'm happy to answer that.
From the serverless application repository and the nested applications, right? Is there things that you have seen that are quite interesting for reuse and stuff like that?
I don't have anything to show as of now, Steve, in the sense like the real-time example, right? Sorry, Steve, can you repeat the question again?
No, you just now you mentioned about the nested applications and also the application repository. Have you seen anything interesting or like interesting use cases using those two?
Those use cases I haven't drafted. I haven't drafted it. Maybe like in the Slack channel, I'll buzz you. I'll buzz to in the Slack channel.
Okay, cool. Any other questions? No questions? Okay. I think that's all. Thank you, Sashi, and thank you for all the speakers who come today and contribute their time for sharing. So it's the end of the meetup. If you want to stay on, you can stay on. We normally have a chat. We normally chat under about 10 p.m. and stuff like that. So just feel free if you want to hang out in the Zoom channel. The room is still open. Cool. If not, then I'll see the rest of you. Bye-bye.